All right. Welcome to another episode of Boundless Home Solutions. My name is Jason, and I'm going to be working on this old Power Wheels Cooper car. Couple things. We're going to swap out the old battery with a Makita drill battery, and I bought a kit off Amazon. Hopefully it's a quick and easy way to do it. And I also 3D printed a replacement gear for this box. So I'll kind of describe how I did that and what I needed to do to get it working. So yeah, we'll get into it and see how it goes. This should be fun. I'm also testing this outside with a new microphone and all sorts of new stuff. So we'll see how it goes. Gotta clean my camera off maybe. We'll see how that works. Okay. Okay, first thing I'm gonna do is I did another live stream where I dug into this gearbox because it was slipping. That was one of the big problems that I had to address. And I did end up finding the replacement gear that I needed that was already designed on Thingiverse. And I'll put a link to it, to the one that I used. It was really close, but I did need to drill out the center hole where the shaft goes, because I think when they combined the two different gears, the one gear that they added didn't have quite the right diameter on that. And I also needed to scale the whole thing down in the X and Y direction by 2% to get the gears to mesh. And then I also had to take a bolt and I threaded it through like so. Okay, and I ended up chucking this up in a drill and using a file and just taking the outside of that gear down just a little bit more to get it to fit. So I needed to scale it down to actually get the width of the gears to fit. And then I had to take a little bit more off that. I probably could have scaled it down a little bit more, but the smaller teeth on the big portion of the gear actually fit really well. So I didn't want to scale it down too much and then have those be too loose. So realize not everybody has a 3D printer and is able to do stuff like that. So I think that there's replacements that you can purchase or kits. But what I ended up running into is that this is a pretty old Power Wheels. I'm going to guess maybe 7 or 8 years old. And it's got, I forget what the name of the Gearbox version is, but it's a much older version. This version has the gears all kind of offset going up. And the newer gearboxes, the gears are more in a line. So the replacements that I found were more the inline version, and that wasn't going to work out for me. So I had a 3D printer, and I just went that direction. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grease up these gears because all of the old grease is dried up and it got dusty and dirty. So I'm going to do that. And I don't know what grease you're supposed to use, but I'm just going to use some generic grease out of this grease gun and just kind of load it up. And I think it's going to be okay because when we go to upgrade from the 12-volt battery to the Makita battery, which is 18 volts, I think we're going to want a little bit of heavy-duty grease in here because I think it's going to add some torque. So this is the kind of stuff I do all the time. And I have to be careful because I do like working on projects like this. I like taking stuff that doesn't work and finding ways to fix it. Sometimes I get a little carried away, so I have to learn, when is it good to fix it versus just throw it away and buy a new one. So I try to find the right balance of doing things cheap and easy, getting them to last longer. But I really don't like the consumerism and the throwaway culture that we have. So I try to fix things as much as possible because it keeps things out of the landfill. And I usually end up learning new skills along the way. So I'm just dabbing this up with grease just to make sure that that's all good and lubed up. It's a little bit awkward. Put some on the shafts, make sure those are all good to go. One of the high wear points of this thing is actually this main, or the final drive gear is plastic on plastic, and that gets all of the dirt and debris from the outside world in there as well. So you want to make sure that that's good and greased up. And we'll see how long this 3D printed gear lasts. I printed it in high strength with a bunch of wall loops. But we'll see. But now that I know that I have the right file, I can print another one if I need to. Okay, that's feeling nice and smooth. All right. Get a bunch more in this final gear here. I'll show you how I got this gearbox out, and I'll get the battery swapped first. Hopefully that goes well. And on my own time, I think I will also grease up the other gearbox so that they're both ready for action. All right. Getting a little slippery. All right, something is slipping. Hopefully that doesn't cause a problem. Might end up having to replace some of the other gears in here also. If I can just get this thing to last another season or two, I think we'll be good to go. And then my younger kids will be growing up into probably gas-powered toys. We'll see if they're ready for it. Put some more grease right on that bearing surface. just realized I do not have the screws for this gearbox to put it back together. So I will need to go grab those momentarily. Okay, I'll be right back with the screws. Okay, here we go. Got all the screws. I'm going to put this gearbox back together. Fingers are all slippery from the grease. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. We're getting some fall weather, but today is particularly warm. But there's going to be potentially snow this coming weekend. So I've got some projects to do before that happens. And I have a video that I'll be putting out about replacing a wheel on an old snowblower. So that we're ready for that. Okay. Get all these put back in. Oh boy. The housing cracked a little bit when I put that one in. Gotta be a little more gentle. We can just get 80%. We should be good. I was looking on YouTube for doing the battery swap on the Power Wheels, and there's quite a few videos out there, but a lot of them were kind of wiring up your own or doing a 3D printed case where you had to put the connectors in and everything. Hopefully this is basically plug and play. I think it's going to go pretty slick. All right, there, the gearbox is put back together. Okay, and we're gonna tip this guy up like so. And that's got an 18 millimeter wheel nut on there. Okay, that's all that holds everything together. So once that gets off, okay, then you can just slide the tire off. And this tire has this little feature on it, and that is what engages with this on the gearbox. So it's a pretty cool design, very simple. And the gearbox just slides right in here. Get some of these acorns cleaned out. That just slides on the shaft with the motor facing toward the battery. and it locks everything in place. And then the wheel just slides right on, and that locks in. And it's got this little hub piece, which does have a little detent, so you got to find the right hole for that. Put the washer on and the lock nut, and that is all there is to it. So I was pretty pleased. Like I say, a lot of these things are designed to be manufactured and assembled very quick and cheap. So that's got a little hubcap that snaps in. That's all there's for that. So now that we got the wheel back on, that's going to be good. Now, okay, a couple things have happened with this over the last couple of years. The first thing that happened was the charger cable, or actually the wall plug, one of the terminals broke off of the charger. So I ended up getting a small battery charger, 12-volt battery charger from Harbor Freight, and I just clamped that on to the connector to charge it up because I wasn't finding a lot of great replacement options for that. And I was fine with that because then I can use the battery charger for other batteries as well. So no big deal. And that worked for a season, got an extra season out of it. And then this whole gearbox thing happened. And so I actually, the gearbox was bad and the kids couldn't use it. And I was going to try to fix it. And then I found out that I could just take the wheel off, take the old broken gearbox out, put the wheel back on, and they were able to drive with just one motor driving the wheel. And that worked for a few times. And then I came out and found out that the battery terminal came out of the connector. So that's when I decided, okay, we're going to switch this thing over to the Makita battery, and hopefully that lasts for a while. So what I'm going to do is disconnect the battery and take that right out of here. Okay, so there's the old lead acid battery that was in it. And I did find out that you can recycle these either at an auto parts store and they'll take them, or we have a local scrap and recycling yard, and I called them and they actually give 10 cents a pound to recycle old batteries. So that is what I will be doing with that. And then this is the kit that I bought on Amazon. It just came in a cardboard box. Okay, and it's a 2-pack. And I'll put the link to what I used. But it came with 2 of these adapters. And it's got the little adapter for the Makita battery. And it's got a positive and negative wire. Got a fuse holder. It comes with extra fuses. It comes with a quick connect wire connector. It comes with mounting hardware because it's got mounting holes here so you can hard mount it to something. It's got an on-off switch. So for 2 of these adapters and all the extra parts, it was only $15. So pretty cheap. And I think it's going to be pretty easy to do. So what I'm going to do is clip off this old connector here. And I'm just going to use, hey, I use this thing constantly all day long for multiple things. My old Leatherman, one of the very best purchases. So there's that. And then I'm just going to strip about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch off the end of these wires. And of course, you can use more sophisticated tools like a wire stripper, and things like that. But a lot of times I just use the Leatherman because it's always with me and it works for 95% of the jobs that I work on. Okay, so then I've got my, I don't know if you can see it very well, but I've got my positive and negative wires there. I'm going to do the same thing here on the adapter. Just strip out about 1/4 of an inch of the insulation off of here. This one's a little bit softer material and it's kind of harder. There we go. Okay, so I'll show you on this one. Just stripping off about that much and then twisting it up. Okay, we'll see how this quick connector works. The extra fuses away for now. So this just looks like this. The wires go in those holes. And you just lift those guys up. I'm going to put red in the orange spot. And then once you get the wire seated, you should be able to just pop that down, and it's spring loaded, so it holds it in pretty nice. The black one on the blue side. Okay, like so. And then I'll do the same thing on this side. Do red to the orange side. Do black to the blue side. And just like that, it's connected. Okay, so that was pretty easy. Now I will put the battery on, and it locks in really nice, pretty slick, and the switch is off. So I'm going to try it. It's got nothing, so that's expected. Turn the switch on, and it works. That is awesome. Okay, let's see. Yeah, holy smokes, that was going to be so much faster than the 12-volt battery. A lot of guys in the videos that I saw put a speed regulator in line with the motor so that you could tone it down, because some of them were getting up to 6 or 7 miles an hour, which for little kids is pretty fast. So I don't know if I'm going to have to do that because this thing was dog slow before, but I think the extra speed will be appreciated, especially as they get older. So I think that's it. I'm going to go in and take the wheel off the other side and grease up that gearbox. And I do need to reconnect the motor that I had taken off before and get that put back on. So I'll have both motors, both drive wheels, and the new Makita battery. But that's it, guys. I mean, I would highly recommend that $15 2-pack kit from Amazon. And it was really easy and really straightforward. So we'll see how long it lasts. And hopefully the kids can get a bunch of good use out of it. So if this is useful, if this is helpful, let me know with a like and a subscribe or a comment. Let me know what I can do better, what other kind of stuff you would like to see. And but yeah, hopefully this is helpful. Talk to you later.